Just might be the one. Just might be the one.
My name is Sharon Naylor, and I write wedding books. I've done 18 books now on weddings, and it's great. I started collecting the material for the first book when I was planning my own wedding, trying to save my dad some money. If I were to give advice to a young girl, I would say you have to ask yourself and each other the big questions. What do you believe in? What do you see for the future? What are your values? What are your thoughts? Make sure you prepare for the marriage, not just the wedding.
The summer wedding season is upon us. This weekend, 40,000 couples will tie the knot, but when they exchange their vows, you may want to listen very carefully, as Judy Muller discovered that traditional business about till death do us part appears to be falling out of favor, at least in Southern California.
Vows are definitely changing these days. They're going more personal. Brides and grooms want their vows to reflect their relationship and their love story.
Their commitment does include staying married all their lives, which is more than some couples are willing to say in their vows.
I have heard just tons of them, one of them being, for as long as you'll put up with me. One groom who had a rather snarky sense of humor did say, for as long as you stay a size 2, which earned him a nice punch in the chest.
But personal vows can fall into the category of too much information, especially if they include sexual details.
I do hear stories all the time about, you know, thanks for giving me a certain amount of pleasure a certain amount of times. There are those kind of things that people will say. And it also depends on how many drinks they've had before the ceremony.
So here's the topic. We all know that when you get married, it's supposed to be a union of equals, right? Everything's supposed to be the same. But the woman generally takes the man's name. People in California, they don't like it. They want to even things up and make it so that the married man can take the wife's last name. So they're going to Governor Schwarzenegger, asking him to change the law, and of course, setting off a cultural and political firestorm in the process. 2020's Juju Chang has the story.
I just want to tell Chris's grandmother, it's not my fault. I didn't do it. I didn't make him do it.
When Christopher Sclafani took his wife Jeannie Ree's last name, it caused a real stir.
I definitely got a fair amount of razzing from friends of mine. My family members were not excited about the decision, I think it's fair to say. My father-in-law was highly amused.
But to the Rees, who are both lawyers, it was no laughing matter.
It just seems so unfair that the automatic answer was going to be that I gave birth to a baby who didn't have our last name, my last name.
But experts say that by turning the cultural tables, husbands risk social ridicule.
People don't quite understand because it's such a new thing. And this was something that women went through years ago when they were starting to hyphenate their names.
But this month, California legislators plan to consider a bill that would allow a husband to change his name as easily as a wife.
I'm Anya Winnicott, editor at The Knot, and we're here to talk etiquette. Today, I brought Sharon Naylor, wedding expert and author of The Essential Guide to Wedding Etiquette. We have a lot of questions.
Okay, bring them on.
Do they have to invite kids to the wedding reception?
It's up to the bride and groom not to include children, but you have to have a consistent rule.
Another question that comes up a lot, is it okay to just tell your single friends they can't bring a date to the wedding?
You have to be honest with your friends and let them know that you're having space and budget issues, and say, you made a rule that if you know the boyfriend, the girlfriend, or the fiance, they're invited. If you've never met them before, sorry, we had to draw the line.
What are your 3 top tips for wedding guests going to the wedding?
Yeah, without question, number 1 is respond on time. Number 2, dress appropriately. Don't dress too sexy. Find out what the formality is of the wedding and dress really nicely and conservatively. Number 3, don't get drunk and sloppy. Don't hit on the groom. Just act appropriately.
Good tip.
Thanks.
You know,
let's discuss
the wedding.
Let's discuss bridezilla-ness. In our audience right now is Sharon Naylor. She's the author of The Essential Guide to Wedding Etiquette. Okay, Sharon, what is this about? Why do women, seemingly halfway normal women, become bridezillas? What's the deal?
Oh, they've been dreaming about their wedding for a very long time, and they have painted a picture of exactly how it's going to be. Now, when they get to the point of being engaged, it's how many other people's opinions, and these other opinions and outside factors don't fit the picture that they have in mind. So they're kind of contrasting between their fantasy and their reality.
It's expectations.
Lining up.
Can be dangerous.
Expectations create resentments. So you really have to make sure, as a bride, that you're paying attention to the fact that there are other people around you. It is not just about you.
There are going to be a lot of people getting married coming up in, this month and
June,
throughout the whole summer. But there will be a lot more people who will be bridesmaids, groomsmen.
Yes.
What do you say to all these people out there who are going to be wearing the taffeta dresses? If they don't like the way their bride is behaving, what do they do? How do they handle it?
Okay, number one, don't try to address her while she's in the middle of the bridezilla meltdown, because there's no rational thinking going on there at all. Create a decompression for her, take her out for a massage, take her out for coffee, get her, return her to the state where she is herself. And then talk to her about the fact that you're not just planning the wedding right now, you're setting the foundation for your entire future with your future in-laws and your groom. These may be the first times that his friends and family are getting to know you, and if you're not being yourself, they think that that's the real you, and that creates a really big problem moving forward past the wedding.
What if you don't want to be in a wedding? What if somebody asks you and you just have you just can't for whatever reason, for financial reasons, or you don't feel as close to them, or you're worried about them becoming a bridezilla?
Right. Never
making you go to boot camp?
Yeah. Never feel pressured to be in a bridal party. You really should just be honest and say, here's your phrasing, is I really can't serve you the way that you deserve to be served because of the conditions of my life right now. I don't have a lot of money, I don't have a lot of time, and I don't want to let you down.
I'm scared to death.
That's your out.
I got two daughters who are both in their 20s, and you never know. Somebody may pop the question and went, please don't. No, I know, it's horrible. I hope they get married. It'd be great. Oh my, is it okay for a dad and for a groom-to-be to say no? Where can we put on the brakes?
You need to know where your line is being crossed. You are perfectly allowed to say no to not only financial things, but the things that are being requested that are just not decent. Etiquette itself is being proper and respectful of other people. And the bridezilla behavior is a total polar opposite of that. So you really have to kind of meet in the middle, because we'll never have a situation where a bride won't have extreme interest in the details of the planning, but she crosses the line when she's being abusive and aggressive with other people.
Wait, the bride's family, I guess in the past, typically pays for the wedding and the reception. Is that normal? Is that still the way it is today?
No, now these days more brides and grooms are paying for their own wedding. Or they may have a combination of bride's family and groom's family. Weddings are very expensive, so brides and grooms...
Oh, they're incredibly expensive.
Just might be the one. Just might be the one.